Broncos news. Good evening, Broncos country, and welcome to another edition of the Bourbon Broncos No B.S. Postgame Podcast. My name's Kevin, and as always, I got Adam and Scott, the Flagman, here with me tonight as we break down the very disappointing, heartbreaking, letdown, meltdown, disgraceful loss that the Broncos had on Thursday Night Football. Guys, we are going to spend the first little bit venting and getting it out of our systems because I know we're all hurting. But then we're going to move on and talk about the good stuff that we saw in this game because, believe it or not, there was a lot of good that we saw that we can really focus on when it comes to moving forward. But first, let's get some initial just opening thoughts and some just how you doing. So, Scott, man, how you doing this Friday before Christmas, and how you feeling, dude? Yeah, that's you know what, guys? That's it. That's the show. Broncos played, we lost, and on to Cincinnati. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you later. I'm just kidding. But Scott, man, you're spot on.
On to Cincinnati. I think
love it.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the first half. I was so positive, and the thing is, we really did find some gems there. You know, you found a semblance of a running game. And then when Jaleel gets back, he's going to fit in there well. They just need to keep minimizing Williams's role. But the rookies performed very well. And, it was nice to see, the young guys step up. It's a shame that we just could not close the deal. But, it's football, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Adam, man, what do you think?
For as good as we look, like that first half, probably as good as we looked offensively all year. And I don't think that you can just discount that out of hand. I don't know, football's a derpy thing. And sometimes like the littlest things can cause like the biggest momentum shifts. And for whatever happened after that fair catch and that weird sequence that happened afterward, something happened. That's all I can say. It seemed like we were chasing the game at that point, even though we didn't really need to. And once LA kind of took the lead, I felt like the offense was pressing. I felt like the defense was pressing. So, as a wise man once said, it is what it is. And yeah, losing never feels good. But I am also of the mind that, hey, our fate is still in our hands. We got 2 winnable games left. There is nothing like go in with a business mindset that you're going to take care of business Saturday against Cincy, but like the sky is not falling down, guys. So
No, and guys, just so you know, normally we have our Bourbon Broncos No B.S. show on Tuesday nights. Of course, Tuesday night being Christmas Eve. We're going to push that back to Thursday next week, so we get a little more time and separation from this game to heal our wounds and get excited for that Cincinnati game on Saturday, the 28th. So get ready for that. Just know Tuesday night, spend time with your families, do whatever you want to do Christmas Eve. We're not going to be here till Thursday night. But we're definitely going to talk about that free kick. Here's the first thing I want to bring up, guys. So go ahead and post your comments, questions. Let's vent, get it out of your system. Whatever it is that's just making you super mad about this game, we want to hear it from you. But first thing I'm going to bring up, guys, is this bit of the post-game press conference from Sean Payton here, and share my thoughts and get hear from you guys as well. So let's listen in.
What do you think he was doing to be able to find that?
We dropped coverage. We dropped coverage tonight 5 different times.
I mean, it's sort of surprising, right? You haven't had that many.
Look, in a short week, we got to look closely at why are these things happening. But 5 different times we had free runners, and you can't have one of their top receivers not covered.
Sean, is your message?
So for me right there, guys, here's the thing. Every team has to play in one Thursday night game a year. You don't really get a say in that. Here's a situation where you, as the head coach, chose to not just be the away team, right? But that you got to choose that you were going to be the away team in this Thursday night game. And I know how it works out. They always go to the away team because the away team's the one that's at the disadvantage. So Sean Payton said, yes, we are going to do this. Now, Sean Payton has said a lot of really good things in his post-game press conferences in general. There's always a lot of good things that he says that I really like. This one really, really bugs me because I'm sorry. When you got to choose, you were the one who decided that you got to play on Thursday Night Football. You do not get to use the short week as an excuse for why this happened. The other thing is we know what number 15 is capable of. How do you not, like, the first thing you game plan for on the defense side of the ball is stopping number 15. So I don't care that you had 3 days. You chose to have 3 days. You cannot stand up there and say, well, that's, short week, we could have done better. No.
Yeah.
No, not an excuse for that.
Act like you were dealt this awful hand.
Yes.
And it would have worked out good. It would have worked out good, but it just got away from them.
Yeah.
And they could never. And, it bothers me that, he was kind of throwing VJ under the bus. But then again, you're talking about free runners. I don't know. I saw a lot of free runners against Cleveland too. So I understand that. And that was not after a short week. Yeah. So what we need to understand is the defense, whether they're tired, whether it's just because they're moving people in and out, there's a little bit of disconnect. And this week against Cincinnati, they can't have that. Cincinnati has no damn defense. We should be able to move up and down the field on them very easily. But Joe Burrow is not a slacker.
Nope.
That guy
he is for real.
That guy is the real deal, and he hasn't been getting a lot of help, but he's the real deal.
No. Joe Burrow and Adam. Okay, go for it. Finish up.
I was just going to say, you got to get that guy on the ground and keep him from throwing, because it's hard to throw a pass when you're laying on your ass.
It is. That's very true. And we didn't really get much pass rush on Herbert last night, so that's a big thing. But Joe Burrow is playing at a very high level. You got to, if you guys really aren't following what's going on out there in Cincinnati, they're really screwing over Burrows. The ownership are penny pinchers. I mean, guys, to put this in perspective, local high schools had indoor practice facilities for their football teams before the Cincinnati Bengals did, because that's how cheap of owners they have out there. And if you look at the body language from Burrows the past couple of weeks, it is not good. He is not happy. Okay, so he is out there trying to carry this team, on his back, and he is playing at a very, very high level because of it. So, if you think that the Bengals game, and we're not going to get too much into that, but if you think that game is going to be any easier than this Chargers game was, no, in no way is that going to be, because the Bengals are even more desperate. And Joe Burrow is really trying to make a name for himself, because he's probably trying to find a way out of there and proving to these other leagues that he could be their Super Bowl winning quarterback. So I don't know, Adam, what do you think, man?
To kind of to put things in perspective a little bit, I'm not saying discounting Cincinnati, even in the slightest, because what you're saying, and if you watched any part of now I'm drawing a total blank, the HBO series, Hard Knocks.
Yes.
If you watch Hard Knocks and kind of watch the two episodes that I've gotten into so far, Burrow, I mean, the situation in Cincinnati seems very, very tense. And Burrow also does, there's something about this guy that when he starts getting a little irritated and getting the red ass a little bit, he just dials in. And so right now, I think Joe Burrow is about as dangerous a quarterback as you can face right now. Now, on the flip side of that, Denver has the antidote for that, because of how I pointed this out a couple times last night on TikTok, is that, just keep in mind, go back to the game against Baltimore, go back to the first game versus LA, and go back to the game that we saw last night. Stylistically, LA just has a very gritty, ugly style of defense. They will take 3 yards at a time. They like taking 3 yards at a time. So when you have a very a fast, aggressive defense like we do, it's easy. That's kind of matches into what they do offensively.
Yeah.
And so to kind of, and I know we kind of got off topic, going back to the short week. No, I sometimes, like, when they announced this, I'm like, what are you doing? Wouldn't you not want it, like, one of the most critical games on the schedule against a division opponent, and you want to take it on short rest? That's a game you want to prepare for as much as you can. And I like Sean, and I like his confidence. This is one of those times where I kind of felt like maybe turn down the bravado a little bit, and take that extra time to just make sure that we're rested and we're going into a crucial matchup on as best as we can. So
if we win, it looks great. But he wrote his mouth and his actions wrote a check that they just couldn't cover. And that sucks, because it looked like they were going to just walk away with it. And then he looks like a damn genius. And I think he is. I think he's a really good coach. And I think he just overplayed his hand. And this time of year, why you'd want to put your players out there on a shorter rest period, I don't get that. I just don't.
No.
Right.
I know you're good. I know that they had to make that decision several weeks ago. You didn't really have the full understanding of what the playoff implication would be in this game. But the fact of the matter is, like you guys are saying, it's a divisional game. If you're competitive, even a month, 6 weeks out from the end of the season, and you see that's a divisional game against a divisional opponent that's doing pretty well, that's probably going to be a very, very, very important game. And I would much rather have had those extra days, gone there to LA then on a Sunday, win that game, and then to hell what happens in Cincinnati. Well, the hell what happens against the Chiefs, right? We know we're locked up at that point. We could be the ones resting our starters, going, we don't care who we get in the first round. We're going to make sure, right? But you rushed it, and it's almost like Sean Payton kind of felt like he still had Drew Brees. He still had the Saints, the Super Bowl winning Saints under him. This is a young team, right? They have got to learn how to win these big games. They've got to learn how to prepare. And it was just really frustrating, because you're right. We could very well be sitting here today going, that was an amazing decision by Sean Payton. But the fact of the matter is, this is the entertainment business. That's what happens. You make a call. If it goes your way, everyone cheers for you. If it doesn't, we're going to sit here and say, screwed up. And not to say that if we played on Sunday, we were definitely going to win, but there was a much more likelihood of. And then you couldn't use that excuse of, well, we didn't really have a game plan to cover number 15 because, the short week, that I chose for us to have. And so,
that
frustrating
really bothered me. When I heard it, it's like, that's just, I don't know. That just was dumb. It was a dumb statement. And,
he doesn't really have those often.
No, Sean's.
No.
Sometimes he just doesn't he does not like to just admit when he screws up either. And that's not a good trait in his line of work. It rubs me a little wrong, because I think you got to know when you've messed up, and you got to take some accountability. And that's the only thing that really bothered me, is that there was not a lot of accountability with it, which goes away if you take care of business in Cincinnati.
Exactly. Nicole, I like your comment here. It's sad we lost the Chargers twice this year, which, for the record, everyone, if you didn't know this, the last time the Chargers swept the Broncos, 14 years ago. So it's been a minute. Okay. Good on them. Whatever. We'll get them next year. But I know our playoff odds dropped a bit from like 93% to 82% now. I confirmed that. I thought it was lower than that. But and I know we kind of feel this heartbreak, this like defeat today. Like it really, really hurt. But if I had told you guys at the very beginning of the season or after we were at 0-2 that we would be going into week 17 with an 82% chance of getting the playoffs, what would your reaction be?
Sign me up, man. Sign me up.
What's
We'd be like,
the under on it?
Exactly.
What's the under? Can I take the under on that?
Yeah.
That would
have been optimistic.
Yeah.
No, go for it, Adam.
That would have been me at the beginning of the year. And we've all had, what was your reaction at the start of camp? What was your reaction at the end of camp? What was it? And just the how this is snowballed. But yeah, to your point, if you had said, hey, we're 0-2 now, but I promise you, week 17 going into the Cincy game, we're going to be 9-6 and one game out of the playoffs. I would have said, okay.
Done.
I hope so.
Nicole here. We are going to get to the good here in a little bit. There is one. So hold on to this comment. I will come back to this, Nicole. Chris Avens-Drain and the rookies in general is definitely a highlight from what we saw tonight. But Victor brings up this next point, and I'm just going to, you know what, guys? It's been 48 years since we've seen this play in the NFL. I think we need to see it, as much as it hurts, one more time, because it's probably going to be another 48 years until we see this again. Now, I didn't even know this was an option, that they could go out there and choose to have a free kick. But we'll pull that down. And it goes back to, how did they get in that position? Right, you will rewind it just to play before, and there's that fair catch interference penalty there, right? One, how do you let that happen? Adam, you were saying it before the show. There's like no time left on the clock anyway. Just let him catch it. It was probably our biggest special teams blunder of the year so far. Man. But then let's go back even further. 41 seconds on the clock. You're on the 18-yard line. You don't really have the intention of getting in unless you're making some big passes down the field to get in field goal range. Why are you not just kneeling it? And furthermore, if you're not going to kneel it, why are you passing the ball? Because that's what stopped the clock, was that pass where you then have to punt it. So I think at that point was one of the biggest breakdowns in coaching that we've seen so far. And from that point on, the Broncos just could not rally.
Well, the first play, fine. You do a nice, safe screen pass, but it loses 3 yards. After that, you just run the ball through 2 times. Why you pass it again made no damn sense. And this free kick wasn't that difficult. I'm sorry. No. I've watched these guys kick these things from the 40-yard line and kick them.
Yeah, like 70 yards.
All the time. On kickoffs when they were kicking them off.
Yeah.
This
is only like a 55-yard or 57 yards. Yeah. And it's like, that's nothing.
I mean, it wasn't that big a deal other than you didn't have people rushing at you to try to block it. It was just crazy. Yeah. And it just never should have happened, from the special teams to the miscue when we we wasted a great interception. I mean, that interception was beautiful. And why we would have tried to get greedy is what it was. Mm-hmm. Everything was firing on all cylinders. But after the first play, you say, yeah, you know what? Let's
just out that screen.
Let's walk out of the casino with a little money in our pocket.
Yeah.
Instead, we wanted just a little bit more. Best thing you were going to do is get a field goal. You weren't going to go down and score a touchdown.
No.
So So in essence, this was a 6-point swing at best or at worst, because you weren't going to probably get down there. But if you did, you were going to get another 3 points.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a dumb play on Peyton. And that's what's frustrating, because he's better than that. Sometimes you've got to have somebody in your ear saying, no, Sean, stop. We're good.
Well, I have something for you guys. And, I know we're feeling down, but I think we need to start turning the conversation around to something more positive. And I have something great for you guys. A joke. A little joke from our Raiders fan friend here. This was great. This was great, man. I if you didn't see, I was holding back the laughing hysterically. I appreciate you tuning in the comment, man. Seriously, no hard feelings. Hate the Raiders, but yeah, nobody's perfect, and that's okay. But let's see, guys. We're highlighting the rookies, and so we're going to spend a lot of time here looking at the really good things going on from this game as we move forward to Cincy. Before we get into that, because I don't want to pause that conversation as soon as we do that, let's get into some quick announcements. First off, I could not give a jersey away from this last week's score prediction challenge in our live tailgate show 1 hour before kickoff, because the Broncos didn't win. So automatically all entries are null and void. So I made it really easy for me. But I'm going to keep that up because, again, it's been 9 years since somebody has won the score prediction challenge, and I want to give away a free Broncos jersey to somebody before the end of the season here. So make sure you tune in 1 hour before the Cincinnati game next Saturday, and we'll be doing the same exact thing, same exact rules. And if the Broncos win and one of you guys gets score prediction right, we will be giving you a Broncos jersey. Also, I know we woke up not feeling anything near like champions today. However, if you do need a little pick-me-up, Breckenridge Distillery here has got you covered with their Broncos Championship blend, the 5280 blend, orange bottle, blue bottle. Both are freaking delicious. Mine is still sealed. Jared's is still sealed because we are waiting to open these up in celebration of when and if we make the playoffs. I still don't want to jinx that. So if and when we get in the playoffs, remember, guys, we are going to be going live that night that it is official. We are in the playoffs. Who knows? It could be this Sunday if Cincinnati and the Dolphins lose. I believe that's our scenario for getting in this weekend. Oh. So if that happens on Sunday, we would go live to celebrate getting into the playoffs with you guys, at which point I'll be opening up my bottle here and celebrating with you guys. So just make sure you're following us for all of the announcements. We'll try to give you guys as much heads up as possible, but it's going to come quick if that happens. Also, like I said at the beginning of the show, Tuesday night, Bourbon Broncos No BS is now moved to Thursday night next week because of Christmas and Christmas Eve. Want you all to spend time with families. We're all going to be busy ourselves. So we'll be back on Thursday night to type you all up for the Saturday game against the Bengals over there. Guys, this has been rough, and you kind of have to peel back the top layer a little bit, look beyond just the score to really look at the positives. And we've been kind of dancing around it so far this show, but I think it's time to really delve into it. The rookies. The Broncos had 6 rookies running around out there last night. First off, Chris Abrams-Drain, only the 3rd player this season to pick off Justin Herbert. What about, let's see over here, some of these other guys. Sanders going out there and getting a sack on his first play. Do you guys remember when Cale McCarr for the Avalanche went out there, left college to join the Avs for their playoff game, and on his first shot in the NHL, he scores? That's the same thing. We just saw that happen. Okay. Yeah. Sanders looking great out there. Tillman he has 4 sacks this season. These guys are stepping up, man.
Yeah. It's amazing the amount of young guys that are stepping into their roles and embracing their roles. And it just, again, the narrative that we don't have any talent is so stupid. We didn't have proven talent. And now it's starting to prove itself. And, it's good. We're going to be dangerous if we can keep improving and we can keep Sean calling some run plays or get Bo Nix to just override some of this crap. But, that running game was on fire that first drive.
Oh, yeah.
And you got a guy that was a practice squad player that we I love that. We re-signed him based on, and we made him put him on the roster because we didn't want anybody touching him. And then it's taken us this long to put him out there. So, I don't know. I don't know if we run with 4 running backs after Jaleel gets back, or what we do, but we need to start. I think Jaleel is good for 10 carries, and he's going to break some stuff. Mm-hmm. We need somebody that's going to get to the hole and bust through the middle. And unfortunately, Williams is great if he catches the ball in space. He just can't run it up the middle. But, I am super excited about Estime. He was running with anger. He was protecting the ball. And, both these guys, they were getting hit early on into the run as well, but they were moving the pile. And we just haven't seen that this year with anybody else. So I'm excited. And that, again, going back to that interception by CAD, holy crap. I mean, that was a beautiful thing of beauty because the guy was open and then he just kind of shut it down. It was like he baited him into that. So I'm excited. I'm excited. If we can run the ball, we'll go far in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, every organization is trying to get at least one or two starters out of their draft class and then 1 or 2 contributors. You look at this year, second round, Jonah Ellis. He's probably your first guy off the bench as far as pass rushers and has shown a lot so far. And even, when he gets into expanded role at some point, he should be good at that, at that. You have Estime, who, had his fumbling problems, but last night, this guy is, and I'm still a little bullish on the pick. I liked other guys a little bit better than Estime, but you can also see what the organization sees in him when he runs the ball. That there is not an arm tackle that this guy can't run through.
Yeah.
And to see him kind of bounce off some guys bounce off of him last night, it really gave us a dimension to our run game that we haven't had all year. Oh. And that's no disrespect to Javonte. That's no disrespect to Jaleel. He just provides a more physical style of running. And then Chris Abrams-Drain, this guy couldn't even get on the field because he had so many guys ahead of him. But now you have a good problem because now you have Riley Moss, coming back at some point. And now you have another cornerback. And in a passing league like this, you can never have too many pass rushers. You can never have too many quarterbacks. So those are good problems to have. And to see these guys, again, the development we're seeing. Yeah, they didn't have maybe an impact, maybe that first half of the season. But now that we're starting to get into, they got their feet wet. They're starting to get their feet underneath them. Now you're seeing us reap the benefit of that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's great, man, because normally if you've been following the show, everyone out there for any amount of time, you know that by this time of year, we're talking off season, we're talking free agency, we're talking draft, because there's literally nothing else to talk about. So we're not really going to talk about that stuff because we'll talk about that later when it's important. Right now, there's too much other stuff. But when you are looking at the impacts that these young guys have, and you are thinking about draft and free agency implications, you see how somebody like KAD or Chris Abrams-Drain is playing out, and just he's taking advantage of the opportunity he has. And he is showing that you can rely on me. And in my first year, so my early first snaps, I can be a difference maker in this game. That's one less position you really have to worry about. You're not going to the draft going, do we need better depth at cornerback? It's like, well, maybe, but that's not really the priority because we got between Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, and now Chris Abrams-Drain, we got 3 pretty damn good cornerbacks there that we could cycle out or, knock on wood, somebody goes down. It's not an immediate like, oh my God, we're in major trouble. And somebody like Tillman, who's undrafted, again, you have somebody like that who's going out there and making a difference. Vele, we were talking about building up the wide receiver core. These young guys are showing you they're developing incredibly well, like you're saying, Adam. They're taking advantage of the opportunities they're given. And, I think that just shows, that comes from coaching. If it was like only one was like really stepping up, okay, well, good for that guy. But when you see all of them stepping up like that, to me, that screams good coaching, good motivation, good leadership. Yeah.
And how could we give? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I mean, we're all forgetting Bo Nix in this too. Bo Nix was part of this rookie class. So
I haven't even said his name. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that we have gotten your franchise cornerstone, probably 2 other contributors, 2 maybe starters along the line, and I forgot about Vele. Vele was the 7th round. Those guys. Yep. You almost want to be an undrafted rookie free agent because then you have like at least some say of where you want to go. 7th rounder isn't necessarily an ideal situation for some of these guys. And Bailey's an older guy, and he took Timmy Patrick's spot. He was the big reason why they were okay with letting Timmy go, and that probably killed a lot of us. Yeah, I'm a huge Timmy Patrick fan. But when you get a guy, and the cost about this too is that you can control your costs as an organization when you're drafting well. So,
yep. Well, and you just think about all the empty drafts from about 2017 on until and I know we wanted to beat up Peyton about it, but because but his drafts we've turned the corner since his very first draft. And I get it. PS2 was a no-brainer, but he picked up other people. I just remember, can you name somebody that was drafted prior to George Payton showing up? I don't know. I can name them, but they're not with the Broncos. Which is frustrating. I used to
Derek Bowles. That's it.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is it.
Yeah,
and and it's a credit to him because he is really developed finally. He was older, but man, you see some of these guys playing at other teams and you're thinking, well, maybe if we'd given them a little more opportunity, but it's like we never gave people opportunity if they were rookies either.
Right.
I am so excited about where we're going and so positive. I'm not a huge Troy Franklin fan, but the guy has a little bit of pop. And if we could figure out how to get him to catch the ball consistently. He caught a ball last night, and he was like, wow, he can really, he's got some wheels on him.
Yeah.
But can we get that consistency from him? I think before the end of the year, we're going to catch him on a fly pattern, and he's going to do a Marvin Mims on us.
Yeah. He's had a couple this season that they have connected on, but it's not been nearly enough. Those are definitely in the minority, right? So here, those guys, Bo Nix and Franklin, get that connection back from when they had in Oregon. I think Franklin is maybe just taking a little longer to developing and get up to the NFL speed. Give them the offseason. And even if you look back at half of all the long passes Bo has had to Franklin, if they've connected on half of those, I mean, think about how much better we'd be winning these games. Even, he's probably connecting on 5%, 10% of those throws. It's pretty rare. So you up that to just 50%, those are going to pay dividends because you not only have Marvin Mims to worry about in terms of that extending the field and his speed, but you got Franklin as well. Man, that's going to be something that those defenses are really going to have to back off. They're going to have to play soft because they know if you take that shot, that guy is going to be down the field, and you had better be ready to catch up to him or be with him. Otherwise, he's going to catch that ball. And they're not far from that.
What's so cool is it seems like Mims has kind of figured out the nuances finally.
Yeah.
He's finally getting the nuance of being that wide receiver. It's not always about just running straight fast. No. It's about working your way, and that's encouraging because he's really come on the last few weeks.
Oh yeah, no, Mims has been our big play guy. Whenever we've needed kind of like that game flipping play, these last 4 or 5 weeks, it's been Marvin Mims. And when I'm not crazy about when they line him in the backfield, running the ball. If they line him up,
that's a Sean Payton thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not crazy.
He wants that Joker role. I get it.
He really does. He really does. But you see the open field ability when he's got a couple blockers out in front of him. You see that. So I'm glad that they finally figured out a role for him. But that's still a testament to good coaching. It's not taking a square peg and trying to put it into a round hole. It's what do you do well, and let's figure out a way that you can contribute with the things that you do well. And that's always the philosophy that I like with the coaching staff. And it seems like that's the idea that this current regime has. Let's find out what you do well. Let's work with that.
To our Raiders fan there, Merry Christmas to you, man. Look, Raiders Broncos always a good rivalry. I look forward to playing you guys next year and getting hyped about that. Let's see here. Michael says we need to get Tyler Bidet back in the rotation. Here's what I'm thinking. Tyler Bidet is back on the practice squad right now. I'm thinking there's something he's not ready to go because I think with what we saw before his injury and the positive that he was, in that game and a quarter basically, I would have thought that we would have rolled him back out there last night if he was ready to go.
Yeah.
So the fact we put Watson out there tells me that, maybe that back injury was a little bit more severe than we thought. Maybe, this is a guy that we really want to protect. Let's look at him in the offseason again and get him more time to develop. But he's another running back that I think, when you're looking at what's going to happen with Williams and what we're going to do moving forward, we could be looking at Estime being our starter with McLaughlin number 2 and then Bidet number 3. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ends up happening and then Watson staying on the practice squad. But also looking here, man, I don't know how much I was screaming at the TV last night, just watching the Broncos line up in coverage and seeing that there was nobody even close to the middle of the field. And I'm like, I know what's going to happen. And about 80% of the time when I said, cover the middle of the field, there's no one there. Guess what happens? They just go, whoop, and there's the guy open in the middle of the field. And it was just things like that we could not seem to adjust to at all. You look at number 15, I can't remember what his name is, McConkey. What happened every single time on those 5 times that Sean Payton was talking about earlier? Right to left, that crossing route, and he just crossed our zone coverage and got open. Okay, after the second time, if I'm Sean Payton, I'm going to Vance Joseph saying, stop that from happening. On the third time, I'm going to go to him and be like, do you want me to help you show you the door on your way to your head coaching interviews? Because this is ridiculous. On the fourth time, I'm just like, I'm taking over now. You're obviously not doing something about this. I don't know, right? But the whole thing was incredibly frustrating to see on the coverage side of things because we've been so good at adapting throughout this season. We've seen them make in-game adjustments, not just halftime adjustments, in-game adjustments. But we just could not seem to do that last night.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get better at getting off the field on third down. And this has been something that's plagued us all year. I mean, we've been able to tighten it up, and whether we get a turnover or we start getting those stops later in the game, but man, it is so frustrating on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. They're picking up 12, 13, 14 yards.
Yeah.
Those are daggers. Those are downs that you have the advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just got to. And we've played better on those later in the game. We've been able to tighten that down. But it's been season long where we've faced teams that we just can't get off the field when we should.
Yeah.
What do you think, Adam? Any thoughts?
Well, like you're talking to, the third down plays, just especially go back to the one where we had them pinned back, and we got them to about a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, something like that. And for some reason, VJ decided, we show pressure and then we bailed into coverage, and it's like, why are we doing this here? We're not going to do this in the middle of the field when they're driving, but we're going to do it when they're backed up in their own zone and they have to. I've pointed to the games versus Baltimore and the first LA game a few times. For some reason, those have been VJ's worst games. The Baltimore game, it seemed like he was chasing it. He couldn't quite figure out his pressure looks and how he wanted to do that. It didn't seem like he really got into the game and didn't have a great backup plan when Surtain went down in the first LA matchup. And that's understandable. I mean, you lose Surtain in the first play, whatever. But even last night, you see him trying to switch up his look, trying to give, all right, let's go 4 and let's drop 8 in coverage. That didn't work. All right, let's do 5 and maybe try to switch up that didn't work. Let's do run blitzes, then they'd pass. So, credit to Greg Roman. I don't think Greg Roman's like an offensive genius or anything, but he just has a style that just VJ can't figure out right now. And not to say that I don't think that VJ can't. Just right now he hasn't. So,
no, agreed. And it's one of those things. Let's be honest, guys. First off, Clayton, how you doing, good sir? Good to see you here as always, man. VJ, I'm so glad he became our defensive coordinator, right? Not what I was saying last year after we lost 70-20. That was not what I was saying. However, looking at where we are now, very glad, he's done so much with this defense. But we got to be honest, he's going to be getting head coaching interviews this offseason. I would love for him to stay, but he's probably going to move on. He's going to want to get that other chance at being a head coach and take the lessons he learned from when he was head coach with us and kind of show that he can do it, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So whoever the next guy is, whether it's VJ or we have to go get another guy, one of the things they're going to have to do is sit down this offseason and figure out how to stop the Chargers because, the AFC West is one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive in the NFL right now. And it's going to be for the foreseeable future between us, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. And if we can't stop the Chargers and what they're doing with Harbaugh, man, it's just going to make things so much more difficult for us if we are the ones thinking about running the AFC West again. The Chiefs are on a bit of a decline. At least this season, you could say that. The record is the record, but we all know what's really going on behind the scenes. But the Chargers, look, Harbaugh's a good coach. You can't deny that. He does really good things with his teams. He knows the game inside and out, and he can pick your team apart. And so if we don't find a way to stop that, it's going to be the Chargers that are going to be giving us the most difficulty down the stretch. And something like, I don't know, Herbert still looks like a 12-year-old kid to me. I don't know why. It's like, how are you in the NFL, right? And how are you this good? But man, it's gonna be a problem, man. Yeah, Neil, how you doing, buddy?
He's a full-on man. That throw he made on that touchdown pass PJ Locke. Oh my gosh,
I thought it was a throwaway. I thought he was just throwing the ball away, but that really shows how strong. I mean, I hate saying it because I don't like complimenting other guys, but it really shows how strong he is as a passer. So
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's before we do some closing thoughts here to wrap up the show. First off, Broncos country, I feel your pain. I was angry all of last night. I woke up angry as well. It wasn't until I got a little nap that allowed me to kind of calm down a bit, but I was still feeling it. Don't worry, guys. The Broncos are not out of it. They still have an 82% chance, and I know the buildup was for last night, but let's not give up on these guys. They're a young team, and let's go back to what we said earlier. Is if I told you we would be in this position at the start of the season, you'd probably laugh at me, or you'd probably say, "Done. What do I have to pay you to make this happen?" Right? Well, here we are. And so they kind of saw, like, they had that opportunity, they lost it. You know, the Broncos should be going out there and playing a little more desperate themselves because they're not going to want to deal with having to win against the Chiefs. You know.
no.
And if for all the people out there that are saying, "Oh, the Chiefs are going to sit their starters, it's not going to be a problem for us." One, do you really want to get in the playoffs based off of a win against a bunch of second, third, fourth string players? That doesn't feel good, right? But also, if the Chiefs lose one more game, they're basically going to be playing for that first round spot. So they could very well be rolling out Patrick Mahomes. Now, we could still beat them. I'm not going to say it's an automatic loss, right? But I don't want it to come down to that for our playoff spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and like how we were talking about even before the game is, treat this like a business trip. Go in and take care of your business. And once you take care of your business, you don't have to worry about this. And that isn't to say that they win in lackadaisical and expected to win. I'm not saying that, but I could also say, and if we're looking for several silver linings in this, they showed up more motivated after that Kansas City loss. Like they were humbled a little bit, and they showed that good teams can capitalize on mistakes a different way that bad teams can. So I think this is one of those moments, and it's a good learning experience for them. That this is, you need to play a 48-minute game,
yeah,
especially against a good team. So,
exactly.
If anything, I'm expecting a much better effort Saturday.
Love it. Look, we'll start including the Raiders in this AFC West conversation.
Nominally,
maybe a couple years from now. Not right now. It's not going to happen, man. Sorry. Let's see. Broncos blend from Breckenridge Distillery, guys. Once again, if you want to pick me up, if you want something to help you feel good about the Broncos, feel like a champion before this next week's game, or as we get ready for a potential playoff push. I said potential. I'm not jinxing it. Don't come at me in the comments. Check out this stuff. Really delicious. If you're a little weird, don't worry. I'm a little weird too. But if you're a little weird and don't like whiskey, I'm going to judge you just a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. They also have Broncos vodka as well. So make sure you check that out from Breckenridge Distillery. Big reminder, no show Tuesday night because it's Christmas Eve. We'll be doing our normal Tuesday show on Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I did not mean to bring that back up. And then Saturday, we'll be doing our normal slate of game day activity. 1 hour before kickoff, our live tailgate talk show to include the score prediction challenge, where I am still offering up a Broncos jersey for anybody who guesses the score correctly in that situation. So get ready for it. So let's get some closing thoughts going over here. I think we already got you to pick a team there.
I did
Man
pick
hat,
a team. I am a man hat. I am.
Yes. We're going to get Scott. I mean, Scott's the flag guy. I don't know if he was really a hat guy, but as long as you're not Team Puffball, you're good there. But Scott, let's get some closing thoughts over from you, man, and just what a 24-hour period we've been through, dude.
Yeah, I was disappointed and not very happy. And, of course, I got your last text, which was, "I'm so mad, man." So freaking mad. And I was too. And we got home. We were out visiting a friend in the hospital, and then we went out and had a drink or watching the game, and I was just having a great time. And then we left, and it just kind of went, and it puts a damper on the evening. Because I wear my emotions for the Broncos on my sleeve.
Especially when it comes to the playoffs, I get super.
I just kept seeing Billy Madsen saying, "You blew it! You blew it!" And that's all I can think of. And then I thought of our buddy Bill Belichick on to Cincinnati. And that's what you got to do. Turn the page, move forward, and let's do the good stuff we were doing in the first quarter, except do it the entire game. That's what I want to see.
Adam, before we get to you, that's good stuff, man. Yeah. Paul here, Raiders with Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, definitely need to drink some vodka if that what ends up happening. And then maybe we will include the Raiders in the conversation. I don't know. I don't want to think about that right now. But he also says Bo versus Justin will be a fun rivalry for at least years. Yeah, that's going to be a good back and forth.
2 former Ducks going at it.
Yep. So what do you think? What do you got, Adam?
I wish I could say that I'm calm, cool, and collected all the time. I will say that no, when it comes to the Broncos, I am not. I will cheer my heart out when they do well. I get very disappointed when they don't. I said leaving the game last week that it feels good to feel good, and it does. Winning feels good. Winning streaks feel good. So to be at that high and to kind of come down, yeah, it sucks. There's no way to sugarcoat losing. And if you're anything like me, who's way too competitive, being okay with losing is never a good thing. But here's the good part. I don't even think these guys are okay with losing. I think they have shown the maturity to deal with bad losses and to come back better from it. If you look at the offense, we have a mature guy back there. For that first half, every time that Bo he audibled into something that just shredded that defense. And when was the last time we've seen that? And that's something to be excited about. And I know I saw a meme where it was the Jordan Peele where he's sweating all over the place, and they're like Broncos fans who, even though we have an 82% chance of getting in, these are Broncos fans right now. Hey, guess what? We're all that person, and it's okay. So the long point is, it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be sad, but then let's get right back on the horse. We're going to cheer our hearts out on Saturday. And you know what? If you're scared, go to church, because it's going to be okay, guys. I feel good. Okay. I feel good.
I like it, man. Paul, this is great. I do think Herbert is a flopping son of a bitch. Kind of. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yep. I think
when he
so.
tried to jump out of bounds to grab a call there. Oh no, that's not flopping.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Exactly. Yeah, guys, for me, my closing thoughts, Paul right here. Bo had a good game. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing. It was good. He protected the football, which in a game like this is probably one of the biggest priorities. So could we fault him for not taking more deep passes, and taking deeper shots? Sure, maybe, okay. But he didn't have any turnovers. He had 2 touchdowns. That is damn good for a rookie quarterback in a big game on the road, Thursday Night Football, playoff, stuff on the line there. Yeah. So, Bo, great game, man. Again, we know our question going into this season, the one thing we wanted answered, right, was, do we have a quarterback of the future for this team? Nothing else mattered. We said on this show and all our other shows, we don't care about the win-loss record. We don't care about this. We don't care about that. We just need to know, is Bo our guy? Yeah, Bo is our guy. So we got that. Everything else that we're experiencing, the winning season, beating the Raiders, sweeping the Raiders, winning in their home stadium and all that stuff. Hopefully we can beat the Chiefs again, get into the playoffs. That's all icing on the cake, right? That's all just experience stuff that these guys are going to build moving forward, and this is going to be great. So I'll just end it with this. Paul, you guys rock. You guys rock as well. The fans, everybody tuning in. Don't forget, we do have our annual fan appreciation episode that we do every year at late January. So we'll be rolling out some information pretty soon about when that's going to be. Just a ton of Broncos giveaways we do during that show, and just hanging out, reviewing the season, talking about Broncos, but more or less just having fun with you guys and interacting with you like we normally do. And so make sure you check that out and stay tuned for that. For all of the Broncos fans that went to the game last night, we heard you. We heard you. That was fantastic. It was funny when they I think it was one of the touchdowns or something they were reviewing or whatnot, and they confirmed it was a touchdown, or they confirmed that it wasn't boo, it was yeah. So Broncos country, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys for going out there and just turning LA into a little mile high. That was great, guys. Yeah. So guys, again, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Thursday night for Bourbon Broncos No BS. Huge thanks to Adam. Huge thanks to Flagman Scott. Hey, Flagman, you want to plug what we got coming up in the Chiefs game?
Chiefs game.
Tailgate wise?
Well, I think we're going to obviously try to go out with a bang. We're going to be doing a nice group photo. We're going to be blowing up some confetti cannons, and we're going to be celebrating the fact that the Broncos are going to the playoffs and are in the playoffs. And I'm excited. If you're just bored, come by. You will not be disappointed. It's good times. And I think we got a little we need to make up for last tailgate, because the wind was not very kind to us, and we preemptively lowered our flags. We preemptively didn't have as many flags, and I was disappointed by that. So we will be flying them full staff, and I'm excited to meet some more people coming through and just enjoying the fact that the Broncos are good again, and
right?
on their way to great,
right?
Because that's been forever.
It sure has been. So, guys, first off, Merry Christmas. If you're going to the Chiefs game in January, come back to the south end, the south end of Lot C. You won't miss it. Look for the 100+ flags flying, again, as long as weather's cooperating. But we'll be back there. It's gonna be a great time. Even if you're not going to the game, come hang out before you go watch it at a bar or wherever nearby. So, guys, this has been a great show. It wasn't a great game, at least it didn't end very well, but it's been a great show. It's been great talking about it with you guys. You always make it fun and enjoyable. So thank you very much. With that being said, guys, man, I got nothing left to say other than to end this show as we always do with a very strong Go Broncos!
Let's go, Bronco!
Take care, guys. See you later.
In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro.